Is there a question that you get the most from clients that are working with you?
They'll say, I don't know what you're doing to me, but it's working. And I'm like, you're doing it. Like you're doing the work. Yes, I am guiding you in the work, right? Because I hold up a mirror to them. You're always winning the game you're playing, like hands down, because every identity is a role with a goal.
You're listening to the TJ Moore Podcast. Today's guest is Mindi Huebner from Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Mindi is a subconscious identity expert and certified clinical hypnotherapist who helps high-achieving women, founders, and CEOs stop leading from performance-driven identity and start leading from their most powerful, authentic self. Her 24-karat identity framework goes beneath mindset and strategy to the subconscious patterns that shape what women believe they're allowed to have, be, and earn. With over 275 podcast appearances, summits, and stages across industries, she's the woman high performers call when they're ready to stop performing success and start living it on their own terms. Mindi, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So how would you describe to someone who's just meeting you what you do as a subconscious identity expert?
I help you when you are in your own way, mentally and emotionally, when what you say you want and who you're being are not matching up. I help you get rid of the conditioning that has told you this is what success looks like. This is how you show up. This is what a business owner looks like. This is what a mom looks like. This is what a partner looks like. These are the roles that you have to play. I help you shed that conditioning so that who you really are comes out, and that starts in your subconscious.
And hypnotherapy is part of your coaching process. So what are some common misconceptions that you have heard from people about hypnosis and using that as a method?
Yeah. First, we've all seen you're getting very sleepy, right? Like the cartoons with the watch. No, we don't do that. I don't do that in my practice. I don't know any hypnotherapist that does that. We do bring people down into trance through rapport in our voice and, modulation of your voice like that, and doing a guided visualization for them. It is not mind control. So if you've ever been to a hypnosis show, a stage show, those people are willing participants in what is happening. They want to cluck like chickens. They want to bark like dogs. You can't do anything against your personal ecology. So there's no such thing as mind control like that. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So when I hypnotize someone, we have a conversation about that. We talk about what it's going to look like, what it's not, that you're not a zombie, and that it's not mind control, and that they are in charge. And I am just guiding them based on the conversation that we've had before that about the results that they want.
Before we started this call, actually, we were talking about Dean Koontz, and he has a book called False Memory that's about hypnotherapy. So Cassie Ryder has recommended you, saying Mindi will help you uncover what is holding you back so you can level up in your business. It is not a coincidence that after working with Mindi, I was finally able to reach my revenue goals with confidence. So your framework is called 24-karat identity. What does this include when you take clients through it?
One of the first processes is, who is 24-karat you? And when you think about 24-karat you, that's out here. So we have you currently, you're right here. And there's a gap between who you are and who you want to be. First thing that everyone, it's vital that the gap is not nearly as big as you think it is. You are already showing up as your 24-karat self and you don't even know it yet. So we map out who's 24-karat TJ. How does and we get super granular, and that's vital because your subconscious thinks in pictures and sounds and feelings. So we get down to, what shoes are you wearing? What does your scent smell like? What do you have in your coffee in the morning or your tea or whatever? We are getting super granular, mapping out what the 24-karat version of you is, so that it's now a North Star, something that you can look at, and we What are you seeing? What are you hearing? What are you feeling internally? What are you feeling externally? What are you tasting? What are you smelling? Like that is one of the very first things we talk about so that you prove to yourself, and I know we're going to go deeper into this, but your RAS brings you what you anticipate and expect, and your brain deletes, distorts, and generalizes based on your beliefs. So when we bring all those things together and we put them all into alignment, who you say you want to be, you have this North Star to cast votes towards. And so when we know what to look for, when we've mapped it out, like this is who we are, this is the 24 karat version of us, right? The one that has shed the conditioning and has up leveled and has the health and the relationships and the wealth and the business and all the things that we want. So we can cast votes to that all the time. And there are micro shifts. A vote doesn't have to be, I've overhauled and I've moved to a castle in France, right? It's, I've got the postcard of the picture of the castle and I'm like, there's that castle. Like I can just see me in the castle. We start with micro shifts and we get massive change because your subconscious, it's going to bounce you back to the familiar, the known, and the predictable. It's designed to keep you surviving, not successful.
I was just thinking about Enya living in her like Irish castle for a moment. You know, she had to dream that at some point. She had to envision buying that castle, not just buying it. That's only the first step. She had to envision waking up every morning and having the peace and quiet and the view that only a castle can provide. So she had to do her own visioning or rehearsal. In the brain, what does the RAS or reticular activating system do?
In very simple terms, it brings us what we anticipate and expect. So what are you looking for? What evidence are you looking for on a regular basis? The data that is coming at you at the speed that is coming at you, you have to have filtering systems in your brain or you would be that little exploding head emoji, right? Because you just couldn't. We can only process very small amount comparatively to what comes in. And so the brain deletes, distorts, and generalizes based on your belief. What do I believe? Everything is hard. Let's just use that. Guess what you see all the time? What do you get proof of? Hard. Things are hard. It's hard to do this. It's hard to do that. You win. You are always winning the game you're playing, and your RAS you either get that in an empowered way or you get that in a disempowered way. And what you said about Enya, it's always the who before the how. Once we understand the who and know how to show up what the who is feeling, smelling, tasting, right? Thinking, saying, seeing, then we can get to, okay, now how do I buy it? How do I get to the castle? Like I know who the castle owner is. Now, how do I get there?
Just have to sell about 50 million records in that case to get a castle or an island. So another example that is used with the reticular activating system is if you tell someone to, on their road trip, count how many red vehicles they see, all of a sudden what they're looking for is only the red ones. They're not noticing blue or gray or black ones. They're just counting the red ones. So why is it so important for people to upgrade their identity if they want to expect a better result than the one they're already living?
Great question. And let's hit on the RAS a little bit more to bring us into identity, because also that is the Bader-Meinhof theory. And this is, you don't see any red cars and you decide one day, I'm going to buy this little red car. It is not on your radar until it is on your radar. Just like you said, someone telling you to look for the red cars. You go to the car lot, you drive off the car lot, you look around, everybody's got this freaking red car and you have never seen it before. So identity, why is identity work so important? Why is the identity? This is who we are at the root, right? This is our subconscious identity is our repeated way of beingness. To quote James Clear, when we're thinking about identity, we don't want to read one book. We want to be a reader. There's a big difference in those two things. We don't want to make one sale. We want to be sales closers, right? Like big difference in that. And that is identity. That is what we believe about who we are, all those pieces. Now, some of that is very conditioned. Labels and telling people they are things when they're very young, shy, for example, right? As opposed to, or I like this one even better because it really fits with the time that we're in. Little girls are told they're bossy, little boys are told they're assertive, kind of thing, right? And so we say that, and then we believe that about ourselves because it's being spoken over us. Our words truly are so powerful. And the words we say after I am, some of the most powerful words in the universe, because you think a thought over and over again, your body creates sensations and emotions. And then this is how powerful you are. You create habits to prove it to yourself that you are this thing. So again, I always have this, like, you can use this for good or you can use this for evil. It can be an empowered belief about yourself or a disempowered belief about yourself, and you will find proof of it.
If somebody pulls up YouTube right now and they search mindset, they're going to get so many different videos. So I want to ask you, what is the difference between mindset and identity?
I want you to think about mindset like the caption on an Instagram post. Okay. That's mindset. Identity is the person writing the caption. Identity is our repeated way of beingness. So we can have a mindset about something. We can have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset, right? So we can see things, see space to grow. We can see possibility, that kind of thing. We can have different mindsets about different things. You've heard if you opened up YouTube right now and did money mindset, you would find millions of videos about money mindset, right? So money mindset and identity, money identity, that could be two different things. If I was just working on my money mindset and I was just saying, and I love affirmations, so don't hear me say they're not good. They are very powerful. But if I was just walking around saying, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, but in my subconscious identity, it was not safe to have over $100 in my checking account, guess who's winning? My subconscious identity, not my mindset. We change the subconscious identity and we create safety in the unpredictable, the unknown, the unfamiliar. We get to, and that's why I said micro shifts as well, because we get to think about it like expansion. So we shed a little conditioning, we expand a little bit more. Your identity gets to be an expansion. The moment our identity becomes a box, that's it. Like, we're not going to grow. It is now, people call it the comfort zone. It's just the known zone. And it just holds you in what you know. And so if you're familiar with Joe Dispenza's work, he was my first sort of woo-woo, also science though, like with that great combination of foray into mental rehearsal, which I am like an absolute proponent of. And that piece of predictable, familiar, known, right? We'll just keep repeating the predictable past because we know how to be this version of ourselves. It doesn't matter like that we don't want to be there anymore until we actively make the decision that we're going to make those micro shifts. It's when we do those sweeping, huge changes that we bounce back. Think about it like a rubber band that you stretch and it bounces back, right? This is why people set New Year's resolutions. And then I don't know, what's the quit day? I feel like it's 2 weeks into January.
So why do so many high achievers unknowingly build their success around performance instead of enhancing their identity?
We were conditioned from a very young age. Oh, when you perform, you get rewarded. And so we just keep on that. And that's the filter that we're using, right? Delete, distort, and generalize based on the fact that, to prove I'm valuable, I need to do more. I need to be more. I need to handle more. I need to be on and perform all the time.
And are there any signs that you look for in someone that you're about to work with who is operating from an outdated identity?
I can immediately pick out a limiting belief or an outdated identity just in a short conversation about the way people talk about themselves, their business, their relationship, whatever it is. Our words, not only are they powerful, they're massive indicators to me. It's a protection to stay in that outdated identity because you know how to do it. Like it's on lock. You don't even have to think about it.
if their identity is not in alignment with their day-to-day performance and what they're doing, it's not that sustainable over time. That's where burnout and things like that, where you just feel totally drained because you're not getting any energy back from what you're giving into the world, no matter what task, no matter what job you're doing. That's where it can get really draining. So what role does fear play in maintaining these identities that don't serve us?
It's a fear of failure or a fear of success. Like that it could really break down to those two places. Every identity is a role with a goal. Conflicting our identities are what I typically see as the most exhaustive, because old identity and new identity, the one that you're leaning into, the one that you've shed some conditioning, you've had this taste of what it could be to do this. The old one is trying to pull you back, like, no, it's safer back here. We know how to be this version of ourselves. And the new one's like, come on, Bish, let's go. And that tug of war is where the exhaustion comes in. The fear is that there is more loss than gain in moving to the next level, in moving into the uncomfortability, and moving into the resistance. Because the resistance, most of the time, tells you you're on the verge of a breakthrough. Something that I like to do, because of that fear of loss of the old identity, what we don't do in my work is to be like, you're out, like past you, you're out. You burn us out. You did this. The opposite. We do the opposite to that. We're like, you were amazing. You got us here. You're just going to pass the baton, because we're going to bring you with us. We just don't need all the beliefs that you had, right? Like it's I have that conversation with clients, and I let them have that conversation with themselves, because that passing of the baton there's so much more ease in it. You're not like leaving anyone behind, which is also a fear. She's a baddie. He's amazing. Like got us here, right? So we're bringing them with us when we have an emotional identity. So we cycle through spouse and CEO and, whatever it is, right? Like when we have an emotional identity, so that could be anger and there's millions of emotions literally, but if we're talking about really basic anger, sadness, even happy. And because every identity is a role with a goal, when we're angry, like if all of a sudden I am angry, we want to be angry. There is gain, there is benefit, there is payoff from being angry. Now, of course, we want to be in charge of that anger, not the anger in charge of us, right? That's the rub, right? Us having that handle on the anger. But that there is a benefit, a payoff for every identity that comes forward. That's why it's there. There's a benefit, there's a payoff. Every identity is a role with a goal.
I've been to some Esther Hicks seminars, and she has a lot of people ask about anger. And they say, so I'm experiencing anger, but I have a shame I don't want to experience anger. And one of her ideas about this is that she's like, I would much rather have you in anger for a period of time, even if it's a moment or a day or 2 days, whatever. But the anger gets you out of the lower emotions and gets you into, okay, now I'm going to stop being powerless about this. What actions can I take to start feeling better? Because you can't really stay in anger that long unless you're really determined to hold a grudge for decades about a particular thing that happened. Is there a question that you get the most from clients that are working with you?
They'll say, I don't know what you're doing to me, but it's working. And I'm like, you're doing it. Like you're doing the work. Yes, I am guiding you in the work, right? Because I hold up a mirror to them and I say something back to them in a way that I'm like, well, here's what I just heard you say. And they're like, that's what I said? I'm like, that's what you said. You're always winning the game you're playing, like hands down, because every identity is a role with a goal. Redefine success, redefine what productivity looks like, redefine, XYZ, redefine your role in whatever that is as you shed conditioning and really expand your identity.
I had a friend call me one time and they were complaining about all of these ways they were not making progress on their new book, not making progress on the course they wanted to make, or being a public speaker, whatever it was at the time. And they said, you know what? I need a financial coach or I need a mindset coach. And they went through all these different labels of coaches and types. And I said, have you considered an identity coach? Who's running things behind the curtains of your life? You know, we call it the subconscious. Actually, in many circles of hypnotherapy, they use the word superconsciousness, not sub. It's a highly expanded point of view, almost a zoomed way, way, way out, almost a cosmic point of view compared to someone who's just simply waking up and going to work every day in that identity. What are people surprised about the most once they start doing this subconscious level work with you?
5% of what we do with our conscious brain. And 95%, like these are the statistics that are out there, 95% is subconscious, superconscious, automated. We don't even think about it. It's our, again, repeated way of beingness, right? Our brain is filtering. We're just going through the motions so often. So they're most surprised at how micro shifts can make like those sweeping changes. Because back to the New Year's resolutions, why I'm not a fan of New Year's resolutions, most people try to do this huge shift or overhaul their whole life. Again, right? Move to France kind of thing. Like, whoa, if you want to be healthy, right? First of all, define it clearly, but going from never working out to saying I'm going to hit the gym 7 days a week for an hour and a half every day after work. No, of course you're going to quit, right? That's awful. And you don't know how to be that person yet, not even close to being that person. So your subconscious will pull you right back into, hey, we know the comfortable, right? The repeatable, the known, the familiar. That is not familiar. That is not for us. So that's why I love a micro shift. And the micro shifts that we do, clients one of the things that I do with clients is do laser coaching. And so clients have unlimited laser calls with me. They're a 20-minute call. We dial right in either on a barrier, a block, something that is stopping them from something that they want, maybe a thought spiral that keeps happening, a limiting belief. We dial right in on that. And on the other side of that, when we celebrate, we dial right into that and they always get aligned action, something that we agree upon. Like, how does this sound? Does this feel aligned? Doing this, looking at this, using this word instead. Every time this comes up, what if, get curious about substituting this word instead, see how you feel, see what emotions come up from this word instead, kind of a thing. My clients, I never tell them very rarely tell them what to do. We talk about it, agree upon it. It's aligned action towards what they want. And those are micro shifts. And so they'll be voxering me like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing this proof. I'm seeing this proof. I'm seeing this proof. This was, again, the gap is so much shorter than we think.
And how do you help them celebrate the progress they're making with their own habits or routines, more the practical day-to-day side of these identity micro shifts?
Our brain is like Velcro for negativity and Teflon for positivity. Like the positivity just keeps going right by. It doesn't even register sometimes, right? That's why when we focus on whatever we focus on grows. And it's already because of survival, like your brain is to keep you, it has not evolved to current day, right? We're afraid of paper tigers, like that causes the same stress as a saber-tooth tiger kind of thing. And so celebrating, recognizing, taking a moment, even to sit and, breathe in fresh air or just enjoy, 2 sips of coffee in silence, but especially celebrate when you're seeing yourself shifting, when you're showing up differently, when you hold a standard or a boundary, and then insert here, when you cast a vote, we are celebrating that like crazy. Like I'm saying to them, send me pictures. I want to know about it. Like, tell me all the things. I'm always saying, tell me all about it. Well, tell me more about it. Cause then they're saying it, their brain is hearing it. Like, we get to layer that celebration on. So I don't know what the actual statistic is anymore, but when I had kids at home and we'd be sitting around the dinner table, tell me about your day. They had to, when they told me a negative thing, they had to tell me 3 positive things as well. And I think it's even higher than that like just to make them even, like in your brain, just the energy and everything else of it. Cause of course, negative things happen. Yes. Like, yes, there's no bypassing here. Like we're owning all those things right. And
there's a fun fact about you that I have to tell people about. You have officiated over 100 weddings. So I want to ask you, where is the farthest that you've had to travel to officiate a wedding?
The farthest I've been is St. Lucia, which is an island in the Caribbean, which was spectacular to go do a wedding there.
Yeah, that can make it a lot more memorable when you're asked to go somewhere, because a lot of your weddings, it sounds like, are actually in your area in Wisconsin.
Every wedding, though, is memorable. And I am what's really important to me is taking the couple in, like bringing them into my field, I tell them, I'm going to put a bubble around you. When we're up there, it's the 3 of us, and I'm only there to make it legal. Like, really, it's the 2 of you. And I just want you to look at each other, because couples can be nervous a lot of times. And there's a lot of people, all of the things, and we want the day to go perfectly. And I say to them, like, this is actually the most important part. I know you're really excited about the party. It's going to be amazing, and it'll be here before you know it. Like, let's just be present with each other. And I learned that from doing so many weddings, that reminding them to be present and that I've got them, right? Like, I am literally putting a bubble of peace around them, and just like, I'll go, grooms, like, we'll breathe, all kinds of stuff.
This was 15 years ago, but I was the witness at an elopement ceremony, and I was only given, I'm not joking, 30 minutes notice. They called me. I was eating at a restaurant. They said, we're at this park between these trees. I was like, the FBI is not after you with binoculars. Like, I don't know who in your family is so terrifying that you have to do it between trees in the middle of a park with only the officiant and me, the witness. But I found it incredibly rude to just be like, get your ass over here. We're getting married right now. 0 warning. So that's how I relate. That's my little story about that. So Stephanie Ferreira wrote this about working with you. Mindi quickly identified the thought pattern that was sabotaging my success. She helped me to identify a root issue in my sense of self-worth and gave me a tool to move past it. So for anyone who's ready to work with Mindi, go to mindihuebner.com. And on your homepage, you have right there at the top this phrase: say goodbye to getting in your own way. I love that. So you also have your own podcast that people can go listen to all the episodes you've released, called Unlock Your 24 Karat Success. And this is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and also they can find it directly on your website. So what could clients expect to go over with you when they do a discovery call with you?
Yeah, I have a 15-minute identity alignment call, and it really is a diagnostic. Like, there's a couple questions that you answer, maybe 5 or 6 questions that you answer to schedule the call. And I tell you what your problem is, what is getting in your way. We talk about what's getting in your way, how it could shift, who you could be without that. And like, if it feels like a good fit, then we can have a deeper conversation about working together. No matter what, the call is free. No matter what, they get a diagnostic. Like, here's what I'm hearing. This is what's happening right now. And how would it feel to not do this? So they always leave the call knowing the identity that they're currently stuck in, right? It has a benefit, it has a payoff, like it's a protection for them. And so one of the huge things that is across my work and just everywhere is there's no shame. There's no guilt. There's no shoulding on ourselves, right? This is, here's where we are. Great. Like from now on in the future, next time, who do we want to be? How do we want to show up? There's no sense in like shaming ourselves for the past, and it doesn't serve us anyway. Like we can shame all we want. It does not move us forward.
Megan Sumrell, a time management and productivity expert, has said, working with Mindi has freed me from the shoulds, like you said, of others, and empowered me to lean into my own knowing, boundaries, and power. So on your website, you have what's called the CEO Identity Quiz. So what's the goal you want people to take away from going through that quiz?
This one is fun and, beneficial for you because it asks 5 questions to really see like what is the identity that is protecting you the most, which is your CEO identity that's actually blocking your success. So is it the chameleon? There's a chameleon one. There's a strategic one. Like there's a secret one that I'm not going to tell. It asks you these questions to then say, not only do you get a result from the quiz, but you also get a guided reset meditation specifically for that identity to help you get grounded, reset, and then move forward. So each one comes with its own specific reset.
And you also have a guided meditation people can download called Brain Priming. Another way you can contact Mindi directly is go to LinkedIn and search Mindi Huebner, or you can also follow her Instagram, which is just at Mindi Huebner. So super easy to find. She's the same everywhere. You can even Google search her and all of those will pop up at the same time. Mindi, is there anything else you want to go over today?
First, get real clear on who you want to be so that you can cast those votes. You can make those micro shifts and close that identity gap, shorten that identity gap between who you're being and who you want to be. It starts though in knowing that version of yourself. And the more granularly you can map that out, the more you can immerse yourself into that, dive into a swimming pool of seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, all the things of that version of you, the sooner you'll be embodying it because you are that version with some conditioning in the way. And so every time you cast a vote, when you think about like letting go of some of that conditioning, you're worth it.
I'm so glad that we were able to get into these topics of identity because I have run into so many times where people are trying everything else and they don't know about these deeper, like they don't know about the subconscious level of where the beliefs are sort of being born or where they're being reinforced. So thank you so much for joining me for today's episode. I really appreciate it.
Oh, this was brilliant. Thank you.
To hear more experts share their story, subscribe to the TJ Moore podcast on YouTube and follow this show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts to listen anywhere you go. Like and comment on this video if you found today's conversation valuable, and share this episode with someone in your life. I'll see you next week.